Good morning, everybody. Luis Morales here, health fitness specialist with Exos at Autodesk, 11 a.m. on a Thursday. Beautiful morning out here in Northern California. Before we get started with any kind of routine, please go ahead and let me know if there's anything that you feel needs a little bit extra love or a little bit extra stretching. Here today in this session, open to anything you guys are feeling. Give you guys a second to do that. Gonna be starting on the ground here today. I'm not seeing anything in the chat, so we can go ahead and get started. I'll keep my eye on the chat, guys. If you guys feel inspired or anything, go ahead and drop it in the chat and we can work it in. All right, so because it is kind of the before noon pretty much, which is considered the morning, we're gonna go ahead and get into the bread and butter, that kneeling, half kneeling hip flexor stretch. I know you guys by now are maybe a little bit tired of this, but we need it real bad. So let's go ahead and get into that position on the ground here. We got one knee down. I'm starting with my left here. What we're gonna do is go ahead and check in with that glute. So left knee on the ground, my left glute is squeezing super, super hard. We'll pull the belly button in towards the spine. And from here, we can push the hips forward, looking for kind of a medium level stretch, kind of leaning forward a little bit too with the torso. We're not completely upright. While keeping that glute squeeze, we're just gonna breathe into that tension in the front of the hip here. Do the best you can to keep that core tight and also let the diaphragm expand a little bit in that lower abdomen best you can. But we're keeping that glute squeeze. Let's do one more big breath. Good, and on that exhale, we can release the tension, shift our weight back a little bit. Let's switch it over to the other side. All right, opposite knee is down on the ground now. For me, it is that right knee. So I'm gonna check in with the right glute, give it a nice little tap, squeeze it super, super hard. Pull the belly button in towards the spine once again. We'll shift those hips forward, looking for a medium stretch here. And then it's just that deep breathing into the tension in the front of our hip. Good job, you guys, good job. Keep that glute squeeze, give it a little tap if you need to. Muscles often react pretty well to a little bit of a tap. All right, one more big breath here. Keep that glute squeezed. Nicely done. After that exhale, go ahead and shift the weight back. We can come out of that half kneeling position. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna come down hands and knees on the ground here. So because it is a Thursday, we have exercise with Exos going on at 12 noon Pacific. And because it's exercise with Exos and Jazzy is usually the one coaching us, she will be coaching today, there's probably going to be some shoulder stuff. I don't even have to memorize the workout or anything to know that there's going to be some shoulder stuff. So we're going to warm up these shoulders here, activating the serratus muscle kind of along the rib cage. So we're going to lock the arms out here. So no bend in the elbows. Let that body kind of sink down towards the ground. So kind of chest and head are coming down towards the ground. We're going to push through the palms and now separate those shoulder blades on our back. Subtle movement here, guys. So we don't want to shrug. We want those shoulder blades to move together on our back as we sink down and then move away from each other as we push away from the ground. So don't hold your breath. I know we might be trying to focus, but let's keep breathing, letting ourselves sink down, shoulder blades poking up through the shirt. Then we push away, shoulder blades coming away from each other. Let's do a few more here. Important that we get these shoulders warmed up. Want to make sure that we're using all the muscles that we can when we're supporting ourselves through these joints. All right, final two coming up here. Let yourself sink down, shoulder blades pinch together, push away. They're coming apart. Last one. Nicely done, everybody. Nicely done. Okay, we are going to stay right here, hands and knees on the ground. Up next, we're going to go ahead and get that core woken up just a little bit, warm up the arms and the legs as well. We're going to get into that bird dog. So if you guys are familiar with yoga, you might already know this one. It's going to involve opposite hand, opposite leg leaving the ground, reaching away from the body, and us kind of using the core to balance and stabilize throughout. So let's start with that right hand and left leg. I'm going to go ahead and reach up overhead with my right arm, reaching back with that left leg, straightening it out, not all the way, but the core is on. Nice and aligned here, trying to keep the back as flat as possible. Let's bring those arms and legs back in. We'll do the other side. Kicking out with the right, reaching up with that left. And a nice strong exhale here, guys, will help us find those core muscles, make sure that that midsection is in the right position. Slowly, let's bring it back in. We're switching again. Good job, guys. We're going to do one more each side. And with that hand that's planted on the ground, make sure we're still kind of pushing away from the ground. Just after that shoulder kind of activation exercise, we're still pushing away from the ground here. All right, let's reel it back in. All done with the bird dog there. So let's take a moment. We're going to come all the way up to our feet for this next one. Take your time. Shift this up a little bit so you guys can see what we're doing up here. All right, so let's go ahead and get into stretching some of those muscles on the side body. We're going to plant those feet about shoulder width apart or hip width apart. Let's go ahead and raise those arms up to the ceiling. We're going to go ahead and grab onto the left wrist with your right hand. So hands are reaching up towards the ceiling. We're not shrugging. Biceps are near the ears. We're going to go ahead and shift all our weight into that left leg, poke that hip out to the left, and then lean to the right using our right hand to pull on that left arm. Just trying to create a stretch through the whole left side of our bodies here. Keep that chest out. Let's breathe. Good work, you guys. Good work. No shrugging. Relax into that stretch. Last breath here. All right, so let's shift our way back to the middle. We can bring those arms down for a moment. Switch your grip. Left hand is now grabbing onto the right wrist. From here, we'll bring those arms back up once again. Shift all your weight into that right foot. Poke that hip out to the right, and then we're using that left arm to pull the right arm. We're opening up that right side of our bodies here. Breathing nice and deep into that chest here, guys, into that torso. Make sure those hips are still under you. Make sure they're not poking out behind. Last breath here. Really pull on that arm. Good. Let's shift that weight back in the middle. We can drop those arms. Let's give those arms a little shake. All right, y'all. That is all the time I have left for this stretch break here today, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Don't forget, we do have one more stretch break with me today. That is at 2:30 p.m. Pacific. And then we also have exercise with Exos coming up here at noon. Always a fun workout. And also don't forget, we are running a huge blood drive in the month of June. Signups are going on right now, so don't miss out on that. Donating blood transforms lives. Almost forgot the little slogan there. All right, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Luis.
Thanks for coming, guys.